No, I don't got lotion on, Bree, but we about to hop into it
Oh my
because
god, as long as you don't look crazy.
you
Y'all
know, like I
stupid,
said, I'm,
man.
I'm in a little tiny box in the corner. These niggas ain't gonna see me like that. You know, let me see.
That shit was
Let me
funny.
double check. You know, where they see me? Ah, yeah.
Right, at least get the crust out your ass.
You know, let me tighten this thing up real quick. Niggas
This
get
one.
this shit together. Man, all right, cool. I'm so small. They have to have a microscope to see my ass. All right, so actually, let me slide
You know what the
myself.
grannies want to do, Dre? Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what I mean, once we get to like over 5,000 subscribers, then I will do the only Grands channel for y'all. But until then, y'all have to just wait. So
Okay.
anyway, it's your boy 10K Dre. We back at y'all with another edition of Paper Trails where we getting into history, politics, laws, treaties, etc., etc. Today, we're gonna get into ICE. It's gonna be a multi-part situation, and of course, for part one, just to kick it off, when can ICE arrest you? Everybody that I know that's not from this country been coming to me with these questions, co-workers, friends, family. So let's go on and get into it. So ICE does not have unlimited power. They not some all seeing, all knowing type of entity. You know what I mean? They like every other organization that has accountability. They have certain parameters that they have to operate within. So let's go on ahead and get to this piece. So in plain English, when ICE can arrest you when they need a warrant and when they're not allowed to touch you at all. So ICE is a federal agency. They mainly do two things: immigration arrests and investigations. But here's the part most people don't understand. Not all warrants are real warrants. I know that sounds kind of crazy. There's two types: a judge's warrant, which is signed by a real judge, and an ICE administrative warrant, which is just ICE giving themselves permission on paper. A judge's warrant can let them enter into a person's home. The ICE warrant does not. In public, ICE has much more power. They can arrest someone in public with an ICE warrant, and sometimes even without one, if they claim the person is deportable and might run. But inside your home, it's different rules. Without a judge's warrant or your permission, we gotta let me run that back. Without your permission, don't get shook and fold just because you see these niggas at your door. They are not supposed to come into your house if they do not have an official judge's warrant. They also pick up people from jails and prisons when someone is about to be released. Now, even to pause that shit right there, if these niggas was all knowing and was, was bad that people try to make them out to be as far as, they could just do anything and go anywhere, then why do they have to wait for a person to be released from a local jail or prison? Which means they don't fucking have jurisdiction to just go and yank that nigga straight out the jail. They have to wait until that person is released from regular police custody or from the Department of Corrections jurisdiction to even snatch that person at that point or approach them. So another myth: ICE doesn't need to prove your case on the street. The fight happens later in court. The streets is where mistakes happen. Um, they, you do they. Well, how can I say this? If you see them niggas on the street, move accordingly. Don't get yourself in a situation where them niggas is even running up on you to even try to ask you the 20 questions. You know what I mean? You should
Right,
know.
keep
You
it
should know what
pushing.
it is. No, what was you saying, Brie?
I was like, just keep it pushing. Unfortunately, even if
Exactly.
you got all your shit ducks in a row.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, you know, a lot of these immigrants is feeling the same pressure that blacks have felt collectively over decades and decades of harassment from regular police. So,
Shit, just
so
driving while black.
you know what I mean? So we know how to move and shake, but I'm trying to give some kind of advice because one, I'm a human. I do have compassion and empathy. Unlike a lot of y'all motherfuckers who, before this hammer came down on y'all ass,
You know,
y'all thought y'all were better than niggas and y'all
Yes,
participated
y'all
in
didn't
white
understand. I
supremacy
not
against
black, I
niggas.
Dominican.
Yeah, exactly. Now you want motherfuckers to come and be heartfelt and give you flowers and please help me and sympathize. No, nigga, you knew what it was. You thought you was white 2 minutes ago. Now you got your nigga wake up call. And unfortunately, these are now the tips that you must follow, that we've been following. So on the next episode, we're gonna get into what to do exactly when ICE shows up at your door. So until then, stay cool. And if you get captured, that's on you. If you don't get captured, that's also on you. I'll
but
holler at y'all
but
niggas.
oh, well, let's add this though.
Uh
Right?
huh.
How convenient it is to have Hispanics pretty much being majority ICE picking up other Hispanics.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bro, I seen that, Aries. You right. It was this girl on threads like, I am Mexican and I stand with ICE. I'm like, God damn.
So remember, and for those who are peeping the YouTube channel, there's another video I did on this same topic. The Mexicans specifically in America, they have been categorized as white over
Hmm.
certain decades coming into America from an immigration standpoint. Other decades that they come in, they on paper as Mexican or Chicano, Latino. Then other decades again, they back white. So a lot
Yes.
of these Mexicans that you see and interact with may ethnically wave the flag. That shit is just a symbolic shit. Most of these motherfuckers identify as Caucasian white in America. That's why the girl that you talking about, I'm Mexican and I stand with ICE, because it goes back to out of all of
Programming.
the Latinos in America, we're the best. We're the closest to white. You feel
And you
me?
know what, Dre, too? I think a lot of it has to do because I live in Texas, so I know. And I lived in Miami, Florida. So the difference between South American Latino and Mexican Latino is very different when it comes to a pride debacle as well. Like South Americans, Argentinians, Venezuelans, Brazilians, all them, they have a lot of motherfucking pride. They are Hispanic, they are Latinos, Latinas. Whereas Mexicans, you come over here, they don't speak Spanish. They don't want nothing to do with anything Mexican. They are American. And I think a lot of it has to do with, just that overall people kind of making fun of Mexicans back in the day, like, and kind of having that like, oh well, you're Mexican and da 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 da. I think it has a lot to do with that. So I think they have a lot of self reflecting that they need to do because that's crazy that even if that you can't you don't want to you want to wave the flag but you technically don't want to be that. It don't
Well,
make sense
no,
to me.
you
To
got you
me.
got good points. Here's the additional pieces. Like I was watching this show called Pennyworth. I just started watching it, and it's set in the 19, I think, 30s or 40s, with the first Hispanic um or Latino police officer about to join the LAPD. He being discriminated on, and he even turned it against his own people to kind of prove how much he wants to be down with whites. You know what I'm saying? And it's tying into a lot of shit that you kind of touching on. I think these Mexicans, they know that they've been working so hard to become American. At this
Yes.
point, like they like, nigga, we invested too much into this shit, nigga. We all in. You know what I mean? Because if they truly loved Mexico as much as they claim, besides just the simple flag waving, they would have stayed there and tried to make Mexico great from there instead of coming here. So, and they, like I said, they've been immigrating into the United States since the 1850s. They went through their little, version of hell, dealing with white supremacy, to finally being embraced and getting the white status or their white card, so to speak. Like I said, depending on which generation of ones that came in. Perfect example, like some of these, what is it? Ted Cruz. What's the other one? Rubio, who's Trump's, I think, Secretary of State.
Yes.
Those are
Hmm.
perfect examples of Mexicans from the older generations that worked hard towards whiteness, and that work paid off. You get what I'm saying? Both of them. One is a secretary, a senator, and another one is Secretary of State to the fucking president of the United States. So that's that the journey that most of them are on. They probably gonna have white wives and shit like that, and
Yep.
their
The Alex
kids.
Padilla guy out in California.
You know what I mean? So
He's a senator. He's the senator.
in a generation or two, they children will be looking like pretty much damn Caucasian at that point. But that's
Hmm.
always been the goal, at least with them. And I would say the same thing for certain Cubans, because them Cubans definitely been on that bullshit in Florida too, and certain Puerto Ricans in New York, where
For sure. For
so
sure.
so it is ironic that they have Latino ICE agents getting rid of other Latinos. But it's easy. It sounds crazy, but it's easy because, like we talk about, all the time, within every ethnic group, you have
Mm-hmm.
people that don't like other people.
Yeah.
Chinese people might not like Japanese people, or Haitians might not like Jamaicans. You get what I'm saying? Mexicans might not like Puerto Ricans. So it
Mhm.
becomes very easy, and it's logical. It makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because what they gonna be able to spot and root out
Exactly.
the Venezuelan out of a sea of Mexicans. No, that motherfucker right there, get him.
And then I feel like it's more like a comfort level to be more approachable because that's their kind. Also, they can speak their language a little better,
Yep.
but
Mm-hmm.
in the grand scheme of things, what's really going on when they take these kids is trafficking, man, is what's really going on.
Yeah.
Because they definitely trafficking these kids. But I also
Who?
feel like
Who
they know
specifically?
the Hispanics. Like, I
Mm.
mean, that ICE period. When they pick up kids, they trafficking these kids, man, because they don't care where they're going. And like one kid, he got hit, ran over by the bike, right? And now it's kind of odd that the ICE claim he got hit by that lady Renee Good that he killed by a car. But meanwhile, ICE is using cars to hit little boys off bikes just to take them in. And he lived like 2 blocks down the street where he could have went and got his papers, but they said, I'm not worried about all that. We'll get that straightened out when we get down to the headquarters. Why you won't let that man go give you the papers if he lived strictly right there and you know exactly where he live at?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So
and I also feel like um when it comes down to money, because they need the money and they send it back to their countries or whatever for their family. I feel like it's that. I also feel like the January 6th ordeal when they jumped the White House. If you really realize and really look who running ICE, all those who did that and he pardoned are part of ICE. No, another thing, none of these are really trained officers. They didn't go to no training whatsoever. And another
Yes,
thing is,
exactly, Aries. That's
yeah,
what
and
that's what I
I
was
was
trying.
reading some articles touching on that too. How they
yeah,
also
they didn't
with
go
the
through no training whatsoever. And
other.
another thing, you cannot be a federal agent hiding your face behind a mask. You have to identify yourself. So that's what I'm saying. People don't know their rights to that point. You don't have to talk to these people. They have to identify themselves, and they don't even do that. You
And
got to identify
Exactly. That was
yourself as
my
an officer.
point.
Even if
That
you
was my
off,
point.
even if you off duty, you still got to identify yourself as being an
yeah, and
officer of the law.
Wait, so
ex-
are they federal agents, Aries? Every
No,
single
they
ICE?
not. That shit, they got
Exactly.
fake shit platted on their shit to say ICE police.
Exactly,
It's
bro.
fake. It's not real. None of that stuff is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
And
also
they trying to incite a civil war is what they're trying to do.
Right.
So the people on the top chains don't have to get their hands dirty. They want us to fight each other and incite a
Exactly,
civil
bro.
war. That's all this doing, man. in
Yeah,
my eyes. I mean, I could be wrong, but
but no, no,
No, you're
no.
right. That's
So
exactly what they did with the Black Lives Matter. They were trying to get, whoever to fight so that the cops wouldn't have to do it.
yeah, well, the other piece that I was gonna throw in there also was that I was reading an article that mentioned that a lot of recruits have come from the right wing, like them white militant, you know, NRA gun loving type motherfuckers, possible neo Nazi
yep,
type.
yep.
Those are a lot of people also being brought in as part of this latest group of recruits into ICE as well. Um, these white
Oh,
nationalists also have also historically been interwoven into regular law enforcement nationwide
yeah.
to begin with for
And I
decades.
went,
So these are also things to also kind of factor into that. So when you got people that really want an all white America to begin with and always wanted an
mhm,
all white America and you are recruiting them into immigration, that's gonna be a recipe for success in the eyes of the devil, but in the eyes of the regular people, that's gonna be a recipe for fucking disaster because there's gonna be more possible killings and violence instead of a person that's non-biased, that's just trying to do their job from a legal standpoint of just getting a person and deporting them. But
exactly.
but we'll see how this shit play out. But we're gonna wrap it up and we'll be back with part two later.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Deuces.